Human Dynamics resilience programs are designed to empower leaders, energize teams, and create organizations that not only withstand pressure but excel through it. Let's work together to build resilience that drives performance and lasting growth.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Leanne, Managing Director of Human Dynamic Philippines. And in Human Dynamic, our mission is to build resilience, enhance wellness, and develop sustainability. And with this mission, we created dynamic dialogues wherein we have weekly conversations with leaders building resilient workforces. And this afternoon is a very exciting. We have Sir Nonoy Nuyles to join us and share his insights on resilience, both on the personal front and professional front. But before we dive in further, let me introduce Sir Nonoy. Sir Nonoy Nuyles is a seasoned HR and business leader with over 30 years of experience in banking, human resources, learning and development, sales leadership, and organizational transformation. He has served as country head of human resources across the Philippines, Vietnam, Brunei, and Bahrain, partnering closely with CEOs, senior leadership teams, and regulators through major people, culture, and business change agendas. His career spans strategic HR leadership, succession planning, labor relations, restructuring, employee well being, governance, and frontline business management, bringing a practical, people centered, and business driven perspective to today's conversation. I am very honored and excited to welcome Sir Nonoy. Sir Nonoy, good afternoon and
Hi, Leah.
welcome. Welcome, Sir Nonoy. How are you doing?
I'm good, and thank you for having me in this conversation. I'm looking forward to our chat.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to especially the recent experiences that you shared earlier with me backstage, Sir Nonay. But maybe we can first start with your sharing, Sir Nonoy, on how you got into HR and probably HSBC as well, and what made you stay through all the changes, and maybe looking back also, what that journey taught you about resilience.
Sure. Uh, Learning was my pathway towards human resources. I joined HSBC primarily because they needed how do you call this? A specialist. That's how they would call it. Training person. So I was with three other local banks before I joined HSBC. Why did I join HSBC? Well, primarily because of the global brand that it has. So very, very attractive in a sense. After having worked with three other local banks, I think it was time for me to
Mhm.
move to an international organization. So when HSBC called for this opportunity, I grabbed the chance to join them. Right. So that's how it went. Then after that, time flew. Then 23 years later, tapos.
Wow.
So very, very, very exciting times really. Right. So that's how it started with the bank.
What do you think made you stick with that journey, Sir Nonoy, whether in the learning field or in the whole organization as a whole?
I think the character of an international organization, HSBC for that matter, is that it's ever evolving. there was really never a dull moment wherein one sits back and just enjoy a hunky-dory kind of environment. Well, again, it's not for everybody, perhaps, but I found myself in such an ever-evolving structure and ever-evolving uh, organization that I found it as an opportunity, actually,
Mm-hmm.
not to be finding areas to learn, right? So in each of those changes that transpired in my journey within HSBC, equally it was an opportunity to take on new roles. So
Mm-hmm.
there was this time in the bank where they suggested, oh, all these HR leaders that we have regionally, let's post their experience. When I put up my experience, oh my God, it was over a total of 18 different roles that I undertook. And every time I'd visit, for instance, the region, I'd always meet up with a very good friend there. Her name was Gitanjali Kumar. And she was the head of learning during that time. Every time I'd meet up with her on a yearly basis, iba yung role ko. It's a different role. And she said, I'm very happy to see you taking on different roles during this journey with the bank. And that, again, somewhat gives me that, how they call this, opportunity, at the same time encouragement to stay, because it's never a dull moment. I learn, I am challenged constantly. uh were there moments wherein it was really challenging, frustrating at times? Yes. But you know what, even those frustrating moments, there were a lot of opportunities that was accorded to me, the challenging projects that you were tapped to do, no? If I might, if allow me to share, all these opportunities, minsan lateral, ha, it did not entail promotion. It did not entail any increase in pay.
Mm-hmm.
But if I step back, why did I grab it? It is the underpinning opportunity to really learn and expand my accountability. So without looking into or putting first that goal to earn and be promoted, but putting more the learning that I'd like to obtain. Eventually, definitely I learned, but eventually I earned, and eventually I got promoted anyway. But that was more an outcome rather than the intent of moving to these varied roles. So that's how it went. I mean, the bank was a matrix organization, as you are aware, as most foreign banks are. It could be challenging and confusing at times, but within that confusion also is an opportunity to really sharpen your ability to connect and interact with different people. No? So, ang one of the things that I always would quote, no, even up to now, is that long composed book of Scott Peck. No? The
Mm.
yung
I love that
Rodriguez,
author, Sir
diba?
Nonoy. Yes.
Oh, diba yung ang sabi lang niya doon, simple, diba? He started the book by saying life is hard. And
Mm-hmm.
the moment that there's an embrace of that, I think, difficulty and challenge, then everything else follows to be more of a journey of learning. And that's what I apply.
Mm-hmm.
I I knew that the HSBC will not be a stagnant organization. There will be difficulties, there will be changes, constant changes. The question is, how do I adapt?
Mm-hmm.
That's what kept me going.
And eventually it all fall into place. Everything fell into place, right, Sir Nonoy?
Sobra. Although when you think about what falls into place, parang hindi siya, kumbaga parang ano eh, you deal with the hand that was given. I mean, you deal with the deck that was given, 'di ba? So, pag nakita mo nag-fall yung deck na ganyan, the question is, this is what it is in the moment. I need to make use of this. I need to grow it, 'di
Mm-hmm.
ba? So, there was no preconceived parang squared position that this is what I need to get. Hindi ganun eh. It is where all the elements, after you working at it, formed, what do you do with it? How
Mm-hmm.
do you move forward with that? And I think that was my life story in the bank was and in my career.
I think that would be a good thing to focus on, Sir Nonoy, what you mentioned about adapting and managing the changes as well. I hear that you are very much learning oriented, that you are very much excited to learn new things, and that even with these lateral movements, there was no monetary benefit or any promotion whatsoever. But regardless, you are very much willing to learn. And I believe that's something that for an average Filipino or an average employee, that is not what we ideally can expect, right? Because everyone wants to just stay at the status quo. Just very few who would be very willing to adjust with the changes or not. So, how would you probably describe your ability to adjust and adapt to that changes that you've experienced?
Yeah, ako I'd probably root this also on my personal journey because um I mean I don't know if there are any foreign participants, but there's such a thing as ano, laking hirap ako. I I was not born with a silver spoon. No, no. A lot of the things that I experienced, we come from very humble beginnings, to be honest. And I think having this experience ultimately grounded uh, my my own aspirations that
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to have a better life.
Mm-hmm.
And any transformation that I would need to be doing on a personal level, no, would be entailing a lot of challenges. No? I also account it to, I don't know, there's such a thing as grace, no, that from a spiritual perspective, and I'm to a large extent a very spiritual person. No, not probably a lot of people would know that, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of submission to, hey, this is a gift that was given to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's those are the foundations, right, for managing the changes that comes to my life.
Mm-hmm.
So any program hence, right, that I would confront, or any challenge that I would confront, I'd have that. There will be
Mm-hmm.
opportunities to recognize gratitude. There will be opportunities, again, going back to learn, right? And what do I need to do in terms of managing through these changes? How did that influence the way I would also establish
Mm-hmm.
structures and programs along lines of changes that happens within the organization? It is heavily influenced by that, you know, my own faith journey, but at the same time, recognizing equally that people will be going through transitions.
Mm-hmm.
So take note na I was speaking now with someone. I always use transitions more than
Mm-hmm.
change. Kasi
Mm-hmm.
change kasi is an outcome that you cannot do anything about. Pag nagbago ang isang bagay, that's it. You're just a participant to that change. But the one element that we need to recognize is transitions. That's us. And there's a lot of element in the transition that is very psychological, right? And there's actually a book that talks about this. One of the earlier books that I that helped me be guided by this is yung kay William Bridges. Tagal na nun. Managing
Mm-hmm.
Transitions. Yeah, it's very helpful. Parang sinasabi lang niya, there are three components to any change framework. You have what will end and what is the new beginning, and in between there's that neutral ground wherein you don't know what's going to happen. Now, the change framework that I have somewhat been establishing or have established in a lot of the programs is driven by that. And how is it driven? I need to recognize ano yung magbabago, what will be changing, what will end,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if people know that something will be ending, in terms of the changes, be it in career, be it in their work situation, right? Then you need to again step back. Okay, if this will end, what are the faculties that I have? Then what do I need to prepare for? What are the timelines? So making sure that everybody, there's such a thing as over communication and change. That's what everybody knows that practically. And then the new beginning actually is another phase of the transition that should help people to be adjusting in the new in the new normal,
Mhm.
right? So all these elements I think are and quite foundational when I was working. But at the same time, nakikita ko siya on how I'm transitioning right now.
Mm.
Kasi para sa akin, ano eh, at this point, I need to be adopting all these principles now. As I'm doing my own transition, there's a lot of psychological changes that I would need to reorient myself through. Sabi nga nila yung ano daw, the successful change, di ba? Uh,
Mhm.
Depends not only on plans, di ba? And communication, no? But it is actually helping people emotionally reorient. And even your personal change and your own personal reorientation is something important as you change life cycles, your personal situation.
Mm.
So yeah, that I'm going through that. So marami akong ginagawang reframing, right?
Yes.
If you're familiar with it, I'm sure human dynamics will be very familiar with that. How to reframe from a psychological perspective. Whatever the situation is, may nagbago, ano yung, oh, ako tiningnan ko siya as an opportunity.
Mm.
I have a lot of time. And that's the reason why I was able to do my 800-kilometer walk in the southern
Wow.
part of Spain. It is the Camino de Santiago. So when I got off HSBC last year, the planning kick-started immediately because we really wanted to do that. So my reframing was, hey, this is a good time for me to really do the thing that I wanted to do. So me and my wife, we went through this pilgrimage. No, we walked 20 kilometers every day for 39 days
Oh. Mhm.
with the with our clothes, no, in our back, on our back.
Oh, wow.
Wala kaming luggage na extra. Yun lang.
For
So,
the entire 39 days.
yes. So we were limited to very few resources. But if you step back, no, talagang yun yung reframing. Kaya pala na konti ang dala.
Mhm.
With whatever
The true
luggage you have.
essentials.
Exactly. Exactly. Just live with the essentials. Focus and be intentional with the everyday. Very practical life reframing, right? And then after that one again, the one thing that I think I learned in any change journey is
Mhm.
yes, you reframe, but at the same time also you need to be able to connect
Mhm.
and reconnect. No, because uh, there has to be a community that you work in. We
Mhm.
are not, we are social beings.
Mhm.
No? We are social beings. And going back to the community and or tapping again to your family, old friends, people that you haven't interacted with, oh my gosh, it gives you such centering. You get back to what your core is. And
Mhm.
at least wala nang expectations, no
Mhm.
pretensions, and you can really speak with people without them second guessing your agenda. You're
Mhm.
not pushing any program. Ganon siya. So very honest conversation. So for me, again, that's very important, connecting. And then
Mhm.
the other one I think that's helping me right now really
Mhm.
is that deep sense of gratitude. That I mean, yes, things have ended. Regular income has ended. Yung mga monthly mo, ganyan. Uh, your health benefit obviously ended, right? Any loan package or loan opportunities, it ends, right? But what is that sense of gratitude that you can employ? A lot of things ended. A lot. I have been gifted with the the opportunity to explore other channels of development outside of that structure of an organization, no, which so ako, I'm very thankful for that. I think obviously the package that I got from the organization, I'd be how do you call this? I'd be remiss.
Right.
No, I mean the organization treated me very well, right? And obviously the time that I spent saving also. So kahit papaano, now I now have that uh, opportunity really to take care of that. So here, that's a good sense of parang gratitude that I should be able to do, right? And also, I think yung faculties ko na, kumbaga parang I can still learn, I can still do a lot of things. Kung yung 39 days, kinaya ko maglakad, what more can
Correct.
I'm back to my Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday badminton.
Wow. Very active, Sir Nonoy.
And guess what? I even explored, ang galing pala ng Pilates. So
Yes. For flexibility
but
and
really
core. Mhm.
strengthening your core and so on. So me and my wife have been doing that. But again, gratitude really is I I get to spend a lot of time with my wife
Mhm.
and really focus on really paying things forward. So
Mhm.
we're part of the, I don't know if you're familiar with Ateneo Center for Family Ministries.
Safam, yes. Mhm.
So we are supporting and participating in the programs of SEFAM. And
Mhm.
I'm going back to school.
Oh, wow.
So I'll be
Further
enrolling,
studies, Sir Nonoy?
yes,
Mm.
so for a psycho-spiritual counseling,
Hmm. Okay, wow.
the degree program with SEFAM, so I can help
Mm-mm.
further. It's
Mhm.
painful, really.
Mhm. What a beautiful journey you are currently in, Sir Nonoy. What you are mentioning about having gratitude and also the importance of reframing. That's also what we like to advocate for, as you've mentioned, in human dynamics, Sir Nonoy. I like what you said about in navigating change, the term transition is much better suited, and that fits well with how we approach change, because when we coach employees we call it transition management coaching, because we all experience various kinds of changes, whether it be personal, as you've mentioned, or professional. The ability to reframe and tap the different resources that we have is very crucial. And I think it connects with what you said, Sir Nonoy, about the importance of connecting and reconnecting. And it applies both to yourself and with the people around you. Thank you, Sir Nonoy. Another question, Sir Nonoy, because this is one of the perennial challenges of leaders.
Mm.
So the need to balance managing the present, leading the present, but building the capacity for the future or anticipating for the future, especially what's happening right now, Sir Nonoy. So, what would you say has been effective for you in terms of building this capacity for your own self and for the people that you lead?
I can just imagine the leaders in HSBC right now, or other organizations for that matter. So many changes are happening, right? And it's like driving, and you need to change your tires while you're driving.
Wow,
I
yes.
think that's how people are feeling, di ba? But siguro stepping back, no, if there's one thing that I saw, not just in the way I manage, but equally some of the leaders that I've interacted with who did it really quite well, no, in a very practical perspective, hindi not the superman kind approach, very basic things, no, yung while decisions and direction setting remain singular, meaning to say obviously that's not something that you easily delegate, no, yung the process, no, of arriving at decisions and setting direction, the process, no, this can be through shared leadership, because there needs to be a support mechanism for leadership to be able to uh, draw sound information. And one leader, if in a change environment, you sense that I can do this on my own, you're already doomed to fail.
Mm.
So there's always that need to embrace that, hey, you're not alone, right? People want to help. Let them, right?
Mhm.
There has to be a cascaded accountability from a leadership perspective. Right? Uh, there's this book that I think what's, again, one of the older books that
Mhm,
I
mhm.
mentioned them, but it inspired me. Alam niyo yung ano, The Paranoid Survive?
I
The
haven't come across. Mhm.
he was a CEO of Intel, if I'm not mistaken. So only the paranoid survive. His premises, one of the elements there is, he would always say, ano, do not ignore your Cassandras. No? Now that we're into Odyssey,
Uh-huh.
if you, kung napanood mo yung, hindi niya sinama yung Cassandra doon eh. Cassandra is this a Trojan goddess yata. But Apollo gifted her with a vision to see the future, but
Mhm.
no one will believe her. Always
Mhm.
parang, so, nung sinasabi niya na, oy, ganito yung mangyayari dyan sa Trojan, ganyan, hindi siya pinakinggan. Look what happened to them. So that was it's a myth, di ba? Ganyan.
Mhm.
What he's essentially saying is that, again, because if you're tapping your machinery, well, for lack of a better word, your network of leaders, and they are grounded, then you will be able to draw all those insights. And I think in
Mhm.
the process, it lessens the pressure as far as leadership is concerned. It keeps one focused on the more important things. It builds accountability across the organization. It builds empowerment, right?
Mhm.
And then it gives one time also to care for themselves personally, because
Mhm.
you're not inundated by even the most littlest of things that you
Right.
want to attend to, having full control. So for
Mhm.
me, that's one key element, right? That I think is one would be able to do. So if there's really one thing that I would do differently,
Mhm. Mhm.
no, as far as leadership is concerned, I think that would be one key element. I could have been more, how do
Mhm.
you put this, involving. No, there was even a time, alam mo, parang ako when my sister died
Mhm.
while I was doing work, I found myself attending a meeting because I wanted to be
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
But stepping back right now, why did I do that? Diba? I have my strong direct reports who could have carried on with the task very much like how I would have carried it. But that element na I needed to be there,
Mhm.
it just creates so much pressure on me that I will be ineffective. Not
Mhm.
just ineffective as a leader, but equally as an ineffective son, daughter, husband, brother.
Mhm. Mhm.
Diba? So, yun. Kung meron akong babaguhin, if there's one thing that I'd change, really, devolve leadership, trust
Yeah.
my people more,
Mm.
and that would spell a difference in terms of really managing transitions and changes.
Wow, Sir Nonoy. But I think, Sir Nonoy, maybe that was the way you know how to cope at that time. And at this at and secondly, Sir Nonoy, I think what you mentioned about trusting the team that you have, the leaders that you lead, right? It would be a really good empowerment for them if you get to let off the rein for a while and let them run the show, right?
True.
As our last question, Sir Nonoy, so you have decades of experience watching leaders and maybe from your own experience, how you've risen, struggled, pivoted, and reinvented as a leader. What is one thing you wish someone had told you earlier that you had to learn the hard way, aside from the recent one that you shared?
You know what? This one is fairly new. Kasi one of the things that I'm enjoying right now is listening to all these audiobooks eh. Ganyan.
Mhm.
Alam mo, one thing that I should have learned, parang ano eh, how do you call this? Uh, don't be passionate. And where did I pick that up as an
Mhm.
insight? Ang galing eh. It actually came from this book, Ego is the Enemy.
Ryan Holiday.
Yes!
Mhm.
You know, there has to be, gaya na naman ngayon, tingnan mo, di ba? I'm overly passionate, right? Hindi yun, sinasabi niya kasi minsan, there has to be restraint and self-awareness because it's essential.
Mm.
You don't want to cloud your judgment in terms of that there it just has to be passion. Let's just move this with energy. One relegates facts to the sidelines and let it be driven by energy. That's not how the world works. So one needs to be able to step back and look into data, look into what the environment is saying.
Mhm.
And with that tempered enthusiasm, hindi sinasabing don't be enthusiastic. It's saying be enthusiastic, but temperate enough to lower the noise so that you'll be able to think through your thoughts well, articulate your position, and it's less of the emotion that comes out, but more a balanced view. And we're seeing a lot of that as an example. The tempered speaker conveys their message across far more clearly because you know that you're drawing your insights in a more structured manner. And I think that's one thing that, again, I learned the hard way. I learned it through a town hall
Mhm.
because you know what, I'm the kind of person kasi that I'm very direct
Mm.
to the point that I lose sight of the empathy.
Mhm.
And the hard learning was somebody gave it as a comment that, hey, we know the logic, but can't you be at least show empathy? Kasi
Human in communicating it.
ako very factual sana kasi I was trying to dispel misconception. But you know what, at the end of the day, people understand. But to employ a level of empathy makes the understanding far greater. Di ba parang ano yan, you remember the book of Kim Scott? Sorry, Candor.
Radical candor, was
Radical
it?
Candor.
Radical
Yeah,
candor?
Radical Candor. Di ba sinasabi niya, there has to be a balance of care personally, challenge directly. I was
Mm.
to directness
Right.
rather than to caring personally, right? So for me, if there's one thing really, no, if you're going to ask me that I could have learned better, right? I could have done that better, I think.
Mhm.
If somebody had, actually, it's more me. I should have listened better.
Mhm.
Because there were some people actually who were telling me that. Kaya lang because of my ego,
Mhm.
di ba? Again, it superseded. And the one thing with, I guess, ego is that, na parang it overpowers, and tempering that, I guess, should be able to make me listen better. Uy, sumobra na tayo sa oras.
Yes, but I didn't want to cut you, Sir Nonoy. That is a very helpful insight because, Sir Nonoy, from our experience, that is very much a common experience, especially among leaders. They are very much business oriented and very direct and transparent without being as humane as possible, Sir Nonoy. So that is a very good reminder. So just to end, Sir Nonoy, if there is just one thing that you would want the leaders listening in, on us today would take away from this dialogue, what would that one thing be?
You give yourselves a pat on the back. It's a very difficult environment. And I think the self assurance that, hey, I'm doing my best is a very good foundation to be improving oneself, right? And to being more open to others in terms of how you're doing as a leader. So, thank you for listening, right? But I think more importantly, I'm I'm rooting for you guys, right?
Yes.
take care of yourselves. And again, mental well-being is very important.
And it's much more sustainable for all. With
Absolutely.
that, thank you so much, Sir Nonoy, for all your insights and your time. Thank you for those all who joined us this afternoon. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.